All right, all right. Welcome to another episode of Only Comics. I'm Mike. This is Adrian.
Good morning. Good morning.
What's up, man? How we doing?
Oh, excellent. Beautiful day outside.
Yes, sir.
Spring is here. At least it is for me.
For a couple of days. Well, spring's here for like one more day, and then
Right.
allegedly we're getting a big snowstorm.
Supposedly.
But you know, you can keep yourself warm with some Dunkin'. Now we're not a Dunkin'. They're not a sponsor yet, but so this is kind of like the first free one you get,
Right.
And then I expect to see an email with some
Right.
information on how you're going to pay us. But
Right.
you know, Dunkin', of course,
Right.
New England style.
And even though I don't have the Dunkin' cup, it is in my Marvel Comics cup.
Nice.
So Dunkin'.
Yes, we have some merch coming soon, Adrian. So people have been asking. Obviously, y'all can see my hat. You can see Adrian's shirt. There's coffee mugs coming.
Yep.
There's hats. There's shirts. There's hoodies. There's sweatshirts. All kinds of good stuff. So I've had the fans out there have been asking. I actually had someone reach out through email too, like, hey man, where can we get a shirt? So very soon. I mean, all honesty, transparency here. I'm testing out a lot of stuff. I want to make sure whatever we sell for merch is good merch.
There you go.
So there you go. But y'all should buckle up because, Only Comics we and Adrian here, we get together. This is the 43rd episode, Adrian.
Wow.
So we've gotten together 43 weeks. We've had some guests here and there, but we get together once a week and we take a ride through the multiverse of the comic book world.
That's it.
And we go through news, rumors. We find some hidden gems along the way. We may do a deep dive. We may respond to some of your comments today.
Right.
We got that in the bag too.
Yep.
But the one rule here is we discuss comics and only comics. And maybe, Adrian, sometimes some other stuff, right?
Right.
But, someone said on TikTok last week that this video is a joke and the podcast is a joke too. Now, I think they were trying to offend me, but did we not tell them a few weeks ago that this is a joke?
Well, we've been telling them all along. We are not professionals,
Right. We're not experts.
We just kicking it about something that we just happen to be passionate about.
Yep.
And that's it. Sometimes we get some stuff wrong. Sometimes we get some stuff right.
Yep.
Sometimes we find out some new stuff.
Absolutely.
Outside of that, yeah.
Don't take us too serious.
There you
Don't
go.
take anything we say here personal. If you do, though, there's a condition out there. It's called butt hurt. You get a little Desitin, clear it up in a couple hours, you'll be good to go. But so we're going to start off like we always do, Adrian, with some comic news and rumors, right? There's a big rumor here, but so it's kind of like we're traveling in time because we're recording this right now, and let's be straight up, this is Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday.
Yep.
Y'all won't see it on Super Bowl Sunday. You'll see it on Monday. So if you're watching it right now, it's probably Monday at 5:30. Good evening. Here we are.
Right.
But there's a rumor that there's going to be a Deadpool 3 teaser/trailer at Super Bowl tonight.
Okay.
So I guess we'll find out. But and why I bring that up is we had a lot of, this is like a Deadpool episode, right? We had a lot of Deadpool stuff going on. We're going to talk the movies. Adrian did some deep dive into some of the other characters, and we're just really going to kind of break down Deadpool for you. And I learned a lot looking at this week because I was not the biggest Deadpool fan in the past. How about you?
No, me either. Matter of fact, I don't even remember when he came along. I mean, other people, other characters, I can say, well, I was reading the X-Men and they came along in that. I was reading the Fantastic Four or Iron Man or whatever, Dr. Doom. But this guy is kind of like a anti-hero. So he kind of like, he didn't register on my radar at any point. So he was just there. So when the movie came out, I had no expectations whatsoever about Deadpool. It just turns out to be pretty cool.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I think he debuted in like 1990, so he wasn't around forever. And it was just kind of like he was always there off in the side.
Right.
Looked cool. I always saw pictures of him with the swords. I didn't really know a whole lot about his power set or anything like that. But you're right. Once they dropped the, I think it was the test footage that leaked, and I was like, oh, shit, that's pretty cool. And then, the two movies, which we'll get into later. But so Deadpool 3 coming out supposedly in July. Allegedly, by this point now, we all would have seen the teaser trailer. So hopefully that was cool. But we're going to get into some news. Adrian, Batman Caped Crusader. So this is an animated show that was announced, God, it feels like probably a year ago now, maybe. It was originally going to be on HBO Max, or just Max as they call it now. And I don't know what happened. They decided to kind of shop it to other networks, and Amazon Prime picked it up. So this is an animated series that is the reason why it's in the news today is the rumor is that it will be darker and depict more violence than Batman the animated series. Were you a fan of the original Batman animated series, 90s?
I was.
Yeah.
I mean, because back then, I mean, pretty much that's all they had. I mean, DC. One of the reasons why DC is so good at their animation is that they've done a very good job over a very long period
Right.
of time.
Yeah.
Right. So, Batman animated series, Batman Beyond, Mask of the Phantasm, all those kind of things. They just kind of came along. They were pretty consistent.
Yep.
Throughout TV shows and time and stuff. So, but I definitely a fan, but now I kind of think they're oversaturating the Batman.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Really? Okay.
Another topic, another day.
Man, as a huge Batman fan, that hurts a little bit, Adrian, but it'll be okay. We'll be all right. But I always, I love the darker tone of the animated series, and even why sometimes now I watch a lot of these episodes back, and it's cool because you would assume that it being a cartoon, it was designed for kids.
Right.
But a lot of the themes in this show are more adult-oriented, right? So when they announced this Caped Crusader animated series, I do agree that there is some oversaturation with Batman, but it's not the Batman I like. It's the kid Batman. Like they had the Christmas Batman special. I don't know if you've seen that. Like
I would agree to that.
It's not like the Batman that you and I like. The reason why we're Batman fans, we got the Batman, which is right in that tone. What I like to see, but we see a lot more of what's the Super Dogs movie when you got the freaking Batman dog and all that shit. So, like it's a lot of that crap,
right? Which
is good for kids. Cool, So I was excited when this was originally announced, and I even think that some of the individuals that worked on the animated series are working on the Caped Crusader as well. Like Bruce Timm, I think, is writing it, and even Matt Reeves, who developed the Batman, is working on this as well. It's supposed to be centered on Batman's early crime-fighting years when he first kind of allies with Commissioner Gordon and the GCPD. So it's that, more grounded Batman, which we talk about a lot, which I'm a bigger fan of. So I'm looking forward to this, and I love the fact that they're saying that it's going to be darker than the animated series. The animated series was pretty dark at the time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand at this point why they're labeling it as, a darker film. Because, I mean, have you seen, there should not be a kid version of Batman today.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen what kids, the video games they play today or the animation that they watch today, and there's nothing kid-friendly about it. There's nothing, Y17 or PG-13 about these videos.
Right.
So they need to just make Batman the way Batman is supposed to be portrayed and get rid of all the other crap surrounding it.
It's like we talked about Spawn a few weeks ago. That animated series is not for kids at all.
Right.
Like no part about it. Batman should be just, portrayed that way.
Right.
Is what you're saying. Like really adult.
You want to make a kid superhero, stick with Superman.
Damn, the Superman shot. Someone said the other day on TikTok, this is the anti-Justice League podcast. I wouldn't go that far.
It is not.
No.
It is not the anti-DC podcast.
Nope.
I mean, these are iconic characters. It's just that you get tired of Batman. He wants to strangle somebody at every street corner, right? You just get tired of letting the Joker go.
Yep.
Superman letting people go. I mean, one of the best DC animation movie I saw was when the Joker even got tired of it. That's crazy. The Joker got tired of it. He was like, dude, I'm tired of going after the Batman because it's not getting me the result that I want.
Yeah.
Let me go after the big boy. Killed his wife. He had Superman kill his wife and his unborn child, Lois, by pushing him in space. He made him think that it was the Joker, right? Because he was so pissed off.
Yeah.
Because he had did what? He nuked Metropolis.
Right.
So killed his city, killed his wife, killed his kid, and Superman went apeshit.
Yeah.
And just broke into Arkham because Batman's trying to protect him, and just shoveled him through the heart with his hands. That's what we should see. I mean, at least once a decade.
Right.
I mean, come on, once a decade is okay.
Yeah. Well, where you're going to see stuff like that, Adrian, is on The Boys. We talked about this a few weeks ago, and everyone's still a little bit perturbed over. Yeah, butthurt, a little perturbed over that statement. But speaking of The Boys, we got some news about The Boys. So we do know that season 4 will be released later this year. But there's a rumor that season 5 has already been confirmed. It hasn't been announced yet, but it's reported that the production will be back in Toronto this spring and summer to shoot the 5th season. So I think, I think this is great news.
Sure.
What I've loved about The Boys since the first time I saw it was it scratches that superhero movie itch, but in an adult way.
Right.
And there's nothing else like it. You know, it's like it's really fitting this week because, well, the closest thing to it would be Deadpool.
Right.
From a brutality rated R standpoint, The Boys is kind of like Deadpool without the meta humor. There's no fourth wall breaks. It's not supposed to be funny, but it kind of fits that same itch, I guess, if you will.
Right.
I've always been a fan, so I'm excited for season 5 because I feel like each season was great in its own right. I mean, I don't know where I would rank 1 out of 3, but they all were really good on their own. I'm looking forward to season 4 and the fact that they've already confirmed 5. And I guess the creator said that initially he said there was enough source material to create 5 shows or 5 seasons. But now he's kind of retracted, saying that I'm no longer going to predict how many seasons because I guess he feels like there's so much more to do with The Boys, which it feels like they're just scratching the surface.
Well, probably what they found out in the process of is that they can go in so many directions, you know, with this thing. You know, A-Train was a cokehead, then he kind of that's linked to his heart. You know, maybe he can get better or something like that. I mean, there's so many different ways they can go with it. Plus, they got the spinoff about the college thing,
right?
So. They could do like I just hope they don't get like the Walking Dead level of series, man. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, let's not get up to like 12 or 13 shows. But so the one of the creators, they're asking him about season 4, and he says that season 4 will include one of the batshit craziest things we've ever done. Which coming from them, like, I mean, we've seen some shit on this show, bro.
I mean, you got a coked up speedster atomize a chick that just stepped off the sidewalk.
Within minutes of the show started.
Within minutes. I'm now really waiting to see. What's
or we got the whole, the little guy goes in little guy gets big and this is, we're not a PG podcast here, but we're not rated X either. So.
Right.
But let's just say, if they're gonna do one of the craziest things, and with stuff we've already seen. I mean, God, the whale episode and
the octopus.
Yeah, the octopus. Yeah, there's So anyway, hey, I'm ready, man. Let's see it. I'm here for it. But I think this is great news. Because again, like I love comic related stuff. But one of the issues I had with the DCEU was the fact that it felt like they were just trying to copy the MCU. They went from a Superman movie to having the Justice League together within like half a movie, all to try to compete with the Avengers, in my opinion. I love that The Boys, the Seven, this whole show, they do their own thing. Right. They're not trying to be Marvel. They're not trying to be DC. They're just being The Boys.
Well, but the other thing that makes DC more intolerable is that through The Boys, who obviously, the Seven is made off of, the DC Justice League, you see the potential of the Justice League to just be raw.
Right.
The only exception I would really make is Wonder Woman. Because Wonder Woman has always been raw.
Yeah.
She's always been a warrior. She's always ready to fight. And outside of that, I mean, Batman, he is intense.
Yeah.
But that limit switch that he has, that manufacturer's limit switch, Martha, that just kind of kills it for him. So The Boys shows the raw potential of the Justice League, which kind of makes the Justice League less tolerable, because they're just kind of like dainty at this point.
Damn, they're throwing all kinds of shots at the Justice League and Superman. Some of these fanboys are going to be upset, but
step it up.
Like someone told us a few weeks ago, they're not real anyways, right? They're all made up. So relax. Someone told us that, so they must be right. I read it on the internet. It's got to be true.
Right.
Most likely. In other news, MCU, the Bob Iger from Disney said that Marvel Studios is starting to focus on some of its stronger franchises going forward, and I'll leave it at that. And a mic drop, it's like Bob Iger, mic drop. He's been on back when we used to do Buddy of the Week, you know, Newsflash Buddy. He's been that. He's been Buddy a handful of times, or our Buster. But and I think the question stems from a lot of the critique of the Marvel's latest efforts. I mean, these kind of obscure shows. You got the Marvels, shit that we've talked about on the show. Who the hell's asking for this stuff?
Right.
Is kind of where they've been focusing, right? Thunderbolts coming out, all these things. Madam Web. I know it's not MCU; it's still Marvel. And so Bob says moving forward, they're going to focus on some of their stronger franchises. But it's really vague. Now, if I had to guess what he's talking about, what would the stronger franchise? I mean, their strongest franchise is the Avengers, right?
Right.
Then you have the Captain America franchise. I think that was up there. Iron Man. But it's like, so the strong ones, well Iron Man's gone, so that's out, right? Captain America has now been replaced with Falcon America, which we've determined here. So that, I don't know if that's what they're talking about. Hulk, does that mean we're in another Hulk movie? That was also part of the rumor. Was that mean we're going to get a solo Hulk movie? Which I would have been down for years ago. But I'm not trying to see a solo Hulk movie with Smart Hulk.
Yeah, that's not that's not gonna work at all.
No.
But besides that, right? So they're what do you call it? When old people go over the horizon, it's a process.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're like killing off all the iconic.
Yeah. Take them out to the pasture.
No, there's a word for it. There's a word for it.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're taking out all the iconic characters, right? Mm-hmm. And then they're bringing in these obscure characters. Now, we have a segment called The Hidden Gem.
Yep.
Now, the Hidden Gem seems to fall like in the middle of the top and the lower tier that Marvel, actually both companies, Marvel and DC, is pushing out.
Right.
So you got the Iron Mans, you got the Hulks, Doctor Strange, Captain America, all the Avengers. But then you got these Madam Webs, these just like, bottom of the pool
Secret
kind
invasions.
of right. Then you got these bottom of the pool kind of people.
Yeah.
But what about those hidden gems? People that can be, so much better than what they are, but they won't bring those out. I don't understand that process.
Right.
So, and you're right. They've screwed up the Hulk so much, and you can't really have a Hulk movie that's a Hulk movie because I mean he's pretty much, when he's enraged, he's nothing but muscle and power, right? Yeah. So what kind of movie can you really build around that?
Right.
So even though he's probably one of the more powerful characters in the MCU, I don't think you can make a movie about him by himself and do it justice.
No, not without like a complete reset of the character.
Right.
Which is actually sad because Hulk is a very intriguing character. Mm-hmm. He's essentially an analogy for anger management, right? But I'm joking, but I'm not. Right. And a lot of, think about movies that have done really well where they can tell a story that is real. Like, we see a lot of mental health stuff depicted on screen.
Yeah.
That would be a great thing to do with Hulk in a way where it's not in your face, it's not beating over your head, but you can tell the story of this guy. His power is essentially rage. And we got Bruce Banner who tries to manage that because he's a genius, but he's got this, inner rage that overtakes him when things go apeshit, and then he has no control over it.
Right.
I mean, dude, I think there's a great story in that if we do it from that standpoint. But like you said, they freaking, as Tony Stark would say, screwed the pooch over here with this Smart Hulk. I hate it. It was funny in Endgame for a little bit, but it's one of those things like the Fat Thor. It's one of those things that was good at the moment. Right. But it essentially ruined that character for me.
Yeah.
But so talk about stronger franchises. I mean, there's Spider-Man. That's probably been their strongest one, right? So does that mean they're going to lean more into Spider-Man? Which I'd be cool with that. You know, so I guess the more I hear talk through this, I think this is a good thing because to your point, who's asking for the Thunderbolts and the Madam Webs and all this other bullshit?
Right.
I'd rather see more Spider-Man movies. I'd rather see more X-Men stuff. I'd rather see more Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
I'd rather see more of that than the Thunderbolts.
I agree.
And now they are leaning into Daredevil pretty heavy. So maybe they're looking at that as a, one of their favorite franchises or whatnot. So I think this is actually a good piece of news.
I wonder if they're gonna ramp up their animation studios.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about the Spider-Verse movies here, right? I'd love to see, I think we said this when the last movie debuted, I'd love to see some of these other characters get that type of treatment. Not necessarily that art style, but an animated movie that is presented at that cinema level. Like you talk about, it's not just like a straight to DVD animation. This is a full, full length cinema film. Like, this is supposed to be a blockbuster.
Right. I mean, I've seen Japanese animation from 30, 40 years ago that looks better than some of the animation that's coming out today.
Yep.
And it's terrible. It's appalling. But like the Technovore Iron Man. I mean, that Japanese animation style of Iron Man.
Yeah.
That was hot.
Yeah.
But that was like a one-shot deal apparently.
Right.
So
What was that, like 15, 20 years ago?
I don't remember when it came out, but it was a while ago.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I'd love to see the X-Men get that type of treatment,
right?
Where they put in that type of budget, like treat it like a real movie,
right?
You know, like you'd mentioned, like you don't look at Across the Spider-Verse as, oh, it's good for an animated movie. You just go, it's a really good movie,
right?
It's probably one of the best comic movies of all time. Speaking of animated and speaking of X-Men, X-Men 97, so the continuation of X-Men the animated series. They're saying that it will be arriving somewhere around April or May. Early 2024, so they don't have the date confirmed yet, but it looks like within the next few months we will be seeing this series debut. I'm excited for this. I love the X-Men animated series growing up. Excited to see a modern take on it because you know that this is one of the shows where it's cool, but the animation hasn't aged as well as Batman the animated series, in my opinion.
Right.
You know, because that darker tone I feel like it ages better, you know. But we've seen some really cool character models in this show. I love that it leaned heavy on, I think, the X-Men era that you were a big fan of, like the John Byrne and the Jim Lee, like the big blue and yellow. Like a lot of those 90s style of character depictions made it into this show.
Okay.
And they pulled from Captain America's in this show at times. I want to say there was a crossover with the Spider-Man animated series at time. Like this, for its time, I think this show was ahead of its time, which is, I think, why it's cool that they're bringing it back now. So I'm excited for this more. And you know, what I like about this is we got some it's different than what we're used to. Lately, it's just been shitty movie, shitty fucking live action series nobody asked for. It's literally been the trend, right? Like when's the last time they came out with a good animated movie outside of Spider-Verse or show that we were excited about?
I don't know. But I'm thinking about a couple of movies, and they're like decades apart. Not animated series or animations. Your boy Batman, he went back in time to like the Japanese. It was like a Japanese Shogun. He was like a Japanese
like Batman
Shogun
Ninja or something.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. I like that animation. But then you go back like 2 or 3 decades before that. It was probably before your time. There was this show on called The Galaxy Rangers. Okay. And it was about a team of basically space rangers, right? Yeah. Like marshals, right? And they would go around and, you know, justice and blah blah blah. Aliens that came in, introduced, you know, technology. We were able to get around. But the funniest depiction was this guy named Goose, who was like a Clint Eastwood knockoff, right? Okay. So with the gun, he was a gunslinger.
See the guy with the cowboy hat?
Yep.
They're on these like AMA, I don't know, some type of robot horses or some shit?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That show was cool. Show was cool. That animation is better than some of the animations that they still coming out with today.
This is 86 it debuted.
Yep.
Yeah, so I wasn't a year old yet, so I don't remember this, you know, oddly enough.
So we got range and we got depth here.
Yeah, we definitely do, no doubt. But yeah, so I mean, I'm looking forward to this. How about you, X-Men 97?
I am. I'm always I like a good remake if it's done well. Yeah. I'm very intrigued by the art styles, and I think it was probably too late for them to start adapting it. Maybe they did, but I don't know how long. I don't know how long the animation screening process, development process is. But I think, well, I know Spider-Man Into the Universe, Cross Universe, Multiverse set a different tone and a different bar for animation development. Yep. And I think we'll see some exciting stuff moving forward. Yeah.
Well, I think one of the coolest things about 97 is I think about 90% of the voice actors have returned. So you ever watch a show like where one actor voices a character in season 1, then by season 4 it's somebody else, and it's distracting as hell. So like Cal Dodd, who does Wolverine's voice, is iconic for the voice. He's returning. I think the Cyclops actor, like most of these guys have come back. So that's cool that we'll get a continuation. damn near 30 years later. But because it's anime, you can use the voice. We talk about this a lot with live action.
Right.
I mean, dude, Hugh Jackman, this is his last hurrah at freaking. This is
Anything.
7 years after Logan, so let's not be confused about what we're going to see on screen here. There's a reason for the sleeves. He might need some of that Homelander padding,
I don't know. I just hope he don't pull have that Russell Crowe, I miss Gladiator days in his eyes. It's like, what's her face in playing Miss Marvel. Yeah. In her eyes, she looked like she don't want to be there.
Right.
Russell Crowe has this, I wish I was Gladiator still, but you're not there yet. So whatever happens, happens.
Yep. Last piece of news for the week. Deadpool 3 will be a unique but ultimately inconsequential MCU film is the rumors. Which sounds to me now. This one, I hope this is an exaggeration.
Wait a minute, read that again.
It says Deadpool 3 will be a unique but ultimately inconsequential MCU film. So it'll be very unique, but it's not going to have a major impact on the MCU, is what I'm gathering from this rumor.
Yeah, but that title is like a play on words. Unique is Deadpool's always going to be unique.
Correct.
Right. Inconsequential means that the movie may be shit, not that it's almost like somebody took a sound bite and, because the inconsequential means that it's just like, I understand not part of the MCU, the bigger thing, and it can be a one-off, but the title just kind of...
Well, it's going to be part of it. I think what they're saying is it's not going to have a major impact on the story moving forward. Like some movies, like Infinity War had a major impact. But
didn't say that.
Huh?
It didn't say that instead of inconsequential.
Right. True. But I think that's what they're getting at, because I believe a lot of people, myself included, are looking at this movie as, this is going to change some shit, because the TVA is allegedly going to be involved. There's going to be some time travel deal. So it's one of those where, like Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, when that was rumored, we're like, this is going to have a big impact. And you watch and you're like, it had no fucking impact at all.
Right.
So I think that's what they're getting at, which I guess I'm kind of on the fence here. If it's as good as I think it's going to be, I'm okay with it. I would like for it to have some impact, because I think that's part of the issue with these phases right now is nothing has any impact on anything. There's just all these standalone, it feels like standalone projects, and we still have not seen anything really tied together, right?
Right.
So but because this is, Hugh Jackman's return, there's a lot riding on this. As long as it's a good movie, I'm good with it.
And I was going to say that, and I don't care if it's intertwined with all these timelines and multiverses and all these other shows. Let's just start with let's just make it past it's a good movie line first,
right.
And then we'll worry about all this other stuff.
Yeah, because how many times have we seen a shitty movie that tied into the main story, or like a movie where it's really bad, but the post-credit scene's great.
Right.
And it kind of like, oh, yeah, I like that movie. Like, do you, or do you just like what it's leading to?
Or did you get up and discuss because you didn't like the movie and missed the post-credit and then didn't even know that it was tied into something else?
Dude, it blows my mind now. Like, the MCU has been around since, 2008 or 9 or something like that with Iron Man. 30-something plus movies. It blows my mind, dude, when I'm at a MCU movie and the credits hit and half the room gets up. Like, do y'all not know? Like, some people just straight up don't know. Now, I hear you if the movie's bad, but I'm talking like good movie, fucking Infinity War or some shit like that. And you're like, dude, where is everyone going? It's like, do y'all not know? But hey. All right, so I think that's it for news and rumors. We're going to recap like we always do here, Adrian, with a little thumbs up, thumbs down.
Okay.
I love too, like when people in the comments respond and they give us their thumbs up, thumbs down. Sometimes they agree with us across the board. Sometimes they don't. Cool. Sometimes they get mad because you agree with me. Like, I don't know, like he's not allowed to agree with me or something. Like, it's not a debate show,
right?
There's just two of us, so I'm not gonna not get Adrian's opinion, right? Like, that'd be weird if I gave all my opinions and didn't ask you, right? It'd be kind of strange. Like, why are you sitting there? So if that bothers you, I would suggest don't watch us, but now is a good time, though, if you do like us, to hit subscribe, like, share this with somebody who could have as much fun as you did watching. So thumbs up, thumbs down. You ready?
Ready.
All right. Caped Crusader animated series will be darker than Batman the Animated Series. I'm giving that a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
According to Bob Iger, Marvel is rumored to shift focus into some of their stronger franchises to get away from what we call the movies and shows nobody asked for. I give that a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
The Boys Season 5 rumored to be on its way. We haven't even seen Season 4 yet. Right. I'm giving that a thumbs up.
Definitely thumbs up.
Because we're fans of The Boys here. Like we said several times, they would destroy the Justice League. So, X-Men 97 release update. We're rumored to be released early spring on Disney Plus. The continuation of the animated series. I'm giving that a thumbs up.
Definitely thumbs up.
We going thumbs up across the board. Who got a last one here? Man, it's a good week for news and rumors. Right. Deadpool. There's a rumor saying that the movie will be Deadpool 3. The rumor says Deadpool 3 will be unique but an inconsequential MCU film. I'm giving that a thumbs down. Yeah, thumbs down.
I agree. It's a thumbs down. It's like clickbait.
Yeah.
You know, they throw all these words to make you read the article and, you know, scroll through all the ads to get to the bottom of what they're actually trying to say. Just say that the movie has nothing to do with the other movies and call it a day.
Right.
We know it's going to be unique.
Yep, exactly. Like to your point earlier, it's Deadpool. How could it not be unique? You know, it's like saying, hey, there's going to be blood in it. Well, no shit. But yeah, but I'm also kind of like, have some balls. Just throw Deadpool in the MCU. Do something, because the MCU is so stale right now. Throw his ass in there, like full-fledged. You know, as the kids say, full send. Do that. All right, next up, Adrian, your segment, Hidden Gem. Now, you didn't send me this week, so it's going to be a surprise.
Not really.
Okay.
So let's just jump into it because we're going to do a deep dive on this character anyway.
Okay.
So this is short. Hidden Gem is Deadpool.
Okay.
Right? Now, doing a little research on him, found out some fun facts. There's actually I watched rewatched his the first movie in its entirety. The second one halfway.
Okay.
But I'm still cracking up throughout this entire movie. Matter of fact, I'm finding some things in there that I didn't see before, right? Or pay attention to. Do you know that there was a Martha moment, and I think it was 2. He comes out. I think he's like at the kid, and he's like somebody else's mom is named Martha or something like that.
Yes, I do remember.
So I'm just on the floor laughing about that. But so Hidden Gem, Deadpool.
Nice.
Why is this guy? So, you know, how he became. Basically, you know, he got turned into this. They were going to. He thought was going to turn him into a superhero. They wanted to just turn him into a super. Put a collar on him and sell him, basically, right? Basically, slave
super
trade.
Slave,
yeah. But the cancer in his body, the reason that his skin, I didn't find this out until the reason that his skin turned this color or he got disfigured is because the chemicals in the process interacted with the cancer cells in his body, and that kind of like blended with his entire body. So that's why he ended up looking the way he did.
Got it.
Now, cool facts about his really only power is he can't be killed, basically. Decapitated, blown up. We've seen that in the movies.
Yep.
Outside of the movies, Hulk has actually crushed his head, right? So he can regrow any part of his body in its entirety from basically parts of it. I think his head has to be somewhere near or around a major part of his body in order for everything to reconstitute. But unlike Wolverine, so Wolverine, he has a super healing factor, but some of Wolverine's healing has a lot of pain associated with it. I think so. The chemicals that made Deadpool also made him kind of psychotic, even more than what he is.
Yeah.
So that kind of takes some of the edge off of the pain of reconstituting, which I didn't know about. Yeah. Once he starts regenerating, right?
So is Deadpool's healing factor stronger than Wolverine's?
I would say, well, we've never seen Wolverine had his head separated. At least I don't recall because of the adamantium, right? So I don't know if he could, regrow a body from his head or regrow a head from the rest of his body or what actually happens, but because we've never seen him in different places. Juggernaut in the movie, split this dude in half, right? Yes. So he can, I would imagine that he could probably regenerate any part of his body from any other part of his body given enough time. And obviously there's a process through it, with the little body and all that stuff on the couch and all that kind of stuff. The other interesting thing about it is that his healing power makes him pretty much basically immortal. Yeah. Matter of fact, he's at such an immortal level that Thanos is even jealous of him, right? he has they want to call him like pansexual in
Yeah, I
the
saw
thing,
that.
because he did have a moment with his girl in the movie, right, with the strap on.
Yes.
So, but
Depends on the holiday, I guess.
exactly. And one of his love interests was, because he's such a level of immortal, that one of his love interests was death itself.
Okay.
Did you know that? They were like a thing.
Yeah.
A Deadpool and death.
Yeah, because Death is a character in the comics.
Correct.
And actually, the whole Thanos, the original Gauntlet story was he was trying to impress Death, trying to court Death. That's why he wanted the stones to,
Right.
split the. So it's different than the MCU.
Right. Like pretty much everything that we think about today is, God, everybody but Jesus, God, and Santa Claus. We did it. That was a hidden gem.
Yep.
So all these, made up characters that we have anywhere is also in some form in the comics. But Deadpool, some of them, some people depict him, or at a time they depict him as having like super strength. Like even in the first and second movie, he's bending metal bars and things like that. But that's not really one of his superpowers. His primary and only superpower is his healing factor, and if you want to throw in immortality, there's that. But he's also being a military trained, apparently dishonorably discharged soldier. He's an assassin, so he has all. That's where all those other skills come from.
Yeah.
That's not something that he got. A lot of people think that he got those skills,
Right.
Because
he was a
he went through that
badass
process
before he got the superpowers.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the swords and all that kind of stuff. So his healing factor only enhances his weapon play. And it's funny that he was going up against Cable in the truck in the second movie, and Cable shoots this bullet. He splits the first one.
Yeah.
And then Cable keeps on firing, and Deadpool's up here with the swords
Yes.
going like that. And Cable's like, look at him like, dude, what are you doing?
Yep.
And it's like, because he got the first bullet, but every other bullet hit him.
Right.
That's why Cable was looking at him like, dude, you just standing there swinging your sword for no reason whatsoever. So it seems like, though, like in the beginning, like things would hurt him, but then he just got so used to being in pain that he just don't even know he's hurt.
Doesn't register. No.
Yeah, don't even register.
Yeah.
So the Taskmaster, you understand Taskmaster's ability, right?
He can just copy most people's abilities, right?
Right. Matter of fact, he was in one of the Avengers. He copied Black Widow, Black Panther, Captain America. He basically can look at you and copy your moves.
Like analyze what you're doing and copy your fight style?
Exactly.
Okay.
But he couldn't with Deadpool. Because Deadpool is because everybody has a fighting style, right? And Deadpool, he is so psychotic and so unpredictable, Taskmaster couldn't even copy his moves. So he was unable to beat him with his own skill set by copying him. So the chemical or the process that's transformed him not only made him immortal and unkillable, basically, it also made him a little bit tweaky in the mind, which is a benefit to him, actually. So interesting character. We're gonna deep dive. I don't want to go too deep into it. I don't want to go into the history because we'll deep dive into it later.
Right.
But I just found those couple of tidbits, just like the other week we talked about the Flash.
Yeah.
I didn't know Flash could sleep while he's not only while he's running.
Yeah.
He can take micro naps while he's fighting.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. So it's these little tidbits that I like to find, and which also makes these characters more screen worthy.
Right.
And I don't understand why they're coming out with the Madam Webs and whatever they're gonna come out with. They're gonna spend all this time and effort on these nonsensical characters, and I'm all about bringing out characters if they make sense. Of course, making sense to me.
Exactly.
But when you overlook the Doctor Dooms, the Gladiators, the Novas, you overlook these people for this other stuff. It's kind of a shame to me.
Yeah. Also was reading that at the time when they were creating Deadpool, I guess Spider-Man and Wolverine were two of the biggest characters out. And then I think the writer who was commissioned to do this, like he didn't have access to them, so they kind of used those two as an inspiration. You think about his costume is similar to Spider-Man, right?
Yep.
The full body, and he's a little bulkier. and the power set's very similar to Wolverine. Right?
Yeah.
But I think they did enough to differentiate him to where now, I mean, look at Deadpool 3. Everyone's, excited for a Wolverine Deadpool team up. So
Right.
they created him similar enough to where you want to see them together, but not to where it's like a carbon copy. you know?
Right. Some other things is like so he also has this what they call it, the fourth page or
The fourth wall.
fourth wall.
Yeah.
He knows that he's a comic book
Yeah.
character, just like we know that they're comic
Right.
book character. So
We
he
learned
know-
that recently.
Right. So he can actually use that to his advantage to get the. He can get the advantage on other characters by understanding that he can look outside of the
Yeah.
comic book, and do like a 50,000 foot view of
Mhm.
another character that he might be fighting. And it's funny that in, what was it, 2004, the Deadpool character referred to himself as Ryan Reynolds,
Really? I didn't
which
know that.
then Ryan Reynolds filled in, became Deadpool. I just thought that was interesting.
That's hysterical. I did not know that. That's
So
hysterical.
that was funny.
Yeah.
Just like that Martha moment. It's like we got somebody else's mother whose
Yeah, that
name
was
is Martha.
hysterical.
I'm like, oh my god, I couldn't stop laughing.
I love when he's fighting Cable. I think it's for the first time, and Cable says something. He goes, "Man, you're dark. You must be from the DC universe."
Right.
And then he tells him, "Cool it, Thanos," because it's the same. Like, that's just little shit like that.
Right.
Josh Brolin. Now, I love his. We'll talk about this more later, but I love his portrayal of Cable.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
His portrayal of Cable, and it just like the way Deadpool just go through the movie. Like the first one, he's like, "We're gonna go back and see Professor Xavier," and Deadpool's like, "Which one, McAvoy
Yeah.
or
Or
Stewart?"
These
I mean,
timelines are confusing.
exactly. It's like, dude. I mean, you can't. He is such a unique character. That I think that if he had more power, he would be less of an impact. His cynicism, his comic relief, his power set is cool in and of itself. The fact that he pops around the universe. I mean, who goes looking for Thanos?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Who
Yeah.
goes looking for Thanos?
Yeah.
I mean, he's lost his power, one or two times,
Yep.
got it back, things like that. But the dude's dating death. Come on. I mean, how cool is that?
Right. Yeah, no, love it. I can't wait to do our deep dive later. Well, another good hidden gem, Adrian. If you guys like this, I know you have because you wouldn't still be watching. Check out our hidden gem playlist where Adrian breaks down several hidden gems like Doctor Doom, like Gladiator, like Flash, like even Green Lantern, Jon Stewart version. So check out that playlist. Up next, Adrian, we have a fan favorite here. Well, I guess depending which fans you ask.
Okay.
This is agree to disagree. This is where I'm going to rapid fire 10. I do have 10 this week. 10 of, the other week I was like, I don't even know how many I had, like 5 or
Right.
6, something. I'm going to rapid fire 10 of my opinions at Adrian. He's going to let me know if he agrees or disagrees. And then the real fun starts where you all let us know if you agree or disagree. So are you ready?
Ready.
All right, I'm going to give you a little bit of a spoiler. This is going to be Deadpool themed. A lot of Deadpool stuff in here, okay? Now, after rewatching the movies and doing a deep dive, I have some new opinions. So we're going to start with this. Number 1, Deadpool 2 is a better movie than Deadpool 1.
Disagree.
I knew that one was going to get you. Deadpool 3 will be the best comic movie of 2024.
I disagree because I haven't seen it.
Okay. It's a prediction. Deadpool would destroy Deathstroke.
Disagree.
Damn, 3 in a row. Deadpool 2 is better than Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Agree.
There we go. Now I got you on my side. Batman the Caped Crusader will be better than X-Men 97.
I didn't like 97, so and I haven't seen I disagree because I haven't seen it.
It's a prediction, though.
I
agree with my prediction?
Based on what I've seen coming out, I'll disagree.
Okay. The Illuminati should have not been featured in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
I agree. No room for it and no point.
Yep. That was like the biggest waste of anything I've seen. Like,
whatever, dude.
God. Taylor Swift should not be in Deadpool 3.
Oh my God.
That is a rumor, by the way.
I don't make me throw up, man.
So you'd agree with me that she should not be in there.
I agree that she should not be in. Yes, that.
And I said this one before. I'm going to say it again. Dunkin' over Starbucks.
Absolutely.
Deadpool should meet She-Hulk in the MCU.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if you're watching this TikTok right now, you should head over to our YouTube and subscribe.
Absolutely.
There you go. I mean, dude, would that not be great? Like, I know you're not the biggest fan of the She-Hulk show.
First of all, from what I've seen, if them two got together, I mean, it'll be like 3 weeks before they even get out the apartment. So there's that.
Yeah, there's that. There's that part too. It'd be like some Jessica Jones, Luke Cage type shit, right? But just their humor, like they both break the fourth wall, right? They're both very meta, and they're both very unique. You know, however you feel about the She-Hulk show, I enjoyed it for what it was.
I'm actually going to go and rewatch it because I went into it thinking like She-Hulk was like the female version of the Hulk, but just an attorney.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand her history.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, like you said this a lot. Like for what it is, it was great. For what it is. Now, would I put it up top like MCU? No, God no. But it was entertaining, and I didn't know a lot about the character either, but I did kind of dig into it after, and I'm like, this is the same shit she does in the comics. I've seen comic panels where she flips around and talks shit to the writers and stuff, so I'm like, wow, this is very on par for her. You know, so, and just the fact that they're both pretty funny. They both actually, I think they look cool on screen. I wasn't one of those fans that got all upset about the She-Hulk model. I thought it looked great. I didn't want to see her look like a dude. I mean, I kind of liked the look, to be honest. And we've talked about the Deadpool suit, which is amazing on screen. So yeah, I'd love to see that, but well, there you have it. Agree to disagree. So now you guys sound off. Let us know if you agree. I got one more. I got a bonus agree to disagree. Okay. And I said this to you on this show, not in agree to disagree, but we're gonna add it in. The Deadpool movies feel more like X-Men, like they take place in the X-Men universe than the X-Men movies do.
I absolutely agree.
Like, did you not get that feel, especially from the second one?
Right. It's like, first of all, why don't you make X-Men movies like you make the Deadpool movies? And he's right. Every time he goes to the X-Men mansion, except for the time when Beast closed the door and all the X-Men are staring at him and stuff, right? It's like that's what the X-Men movie should look like and feel like and be like, you know? So I don't know what they're doing, but it's like they save the best writers for other stuff other than their feature.
Exactly. All right, next up, what do we have next, Sergio? We got our hidden gem. We went to agree to disagree. I think we're going to do We Respond before we do our deep dive. All right. So this is, I don't know if this is a fan favorite. I guess if you're not featured in here, it's probably a fan favorite. Like, we get a lot of good feedback on it, but we get a lot of comments online, and some of them are very good. Some of them are stupid. And this is where we get a chance to respond to you all, okay? So we'll start with episode 42, last week's episode on YouTube. We had a couple actually great comments. Surreal Music here says, got some broccoli snacks and this podcast. Heart emoji and one of these.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. So I'm down with that, Surreal Music. Now, this dude, Michael Walker, we were talking about Homelander versus Superman, this whole deal. He says, Superman basically beat Homelander already. They just called him General Zod in the movie. Same powers, same murderous mentality. Now, that's Zack Snyder's Superman who kills. We have established that Superman doesn't kill unless Zack Snyder writes him. Right. So it's like we have to keep explaining this to y'all. The reason why the Seven would beat the Justice League is not about powers. Think about, are you a Rocky fan?
I have watched it.
Okay.
There's been moments.
So remember when he fights Ivan Drago?
Yep.
Russian dude? Russian dude's way more powerful than Rocky.
Right.
Stronger, maybe even a better boxer. Did Rocky not win?
Yep.
Why did Rocky win? Because of this, right? Because of what he had inside. We've seen underdog stories in sports. We've seen the undefeated Patriots lose to the Giants who barely made the playoffs. We've seen all kinds of stuff. So the fact that if you guys are looking at it from a just power standpoint, we're looking at it from intent. Like you said, Justice League has no intent to kill. Right. The Seven don't give a flying fuck.
Right. Well, besides that, and let's just dispel the Zod thing, right? Zod, first of all, just discovered his powers, right? So he's kind of working with that. But even besides that, he has a mission and a purpose. His goal is to convert Earth into the new Krypton, right? Right. So here's where what's his face, Homelander would destroy Zod. This is why Zod is not Homelander. Homelander is a psychopath. He has no agenda other than him. That's it. He don't care about anybody else. He don't want to do anything else. He just wants to please himself. His only, I would imagine, The only weakness that Homelander has is if somebody tells him he's a failed little boy inside and put a mirror
Right.
and put a mirror in his face.
Tell me he's ugly.
Right, exactly. So Zod basically, so like every superhero, the reason that you don't see a lot of them with like family and stuff, because they always saying, well, they're gonna come after my family, my wife, my blah 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 blah. Zod kind of in a way is the same way. His agenda, his team, his unit, you know, he wants to make Krypton again. That's his family. That's his weakness. And Homelander does not have that.
Right.
Homelander's family is he, himself, and I.
Yep.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Egotistical psychopath.
Right. No doubt. Well, there you have it. Bad Andy 2007 on YouTube says William Dafoe's Goblin in No Way Home is top tier comic villain, up there with Ledger's Joker. And then he says, I'd also put Dano's Riddler in there as well. I couldn't agree more. Bad Andy. What do you say, Adrian?
Who's Riddler?
Paul Dano from the Batman. The last Riddler from Robert Pattinson's.
I got to chew on that one.
Okay.
I got to chew on that one.
But you agree with the rest
I agree
of
on the first
statement?
two. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, William Dafoe, top tier. But yeah, I really like the Dano Riddler.
You know what? I will agree because this is year 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody's being flushed out. Everybody's becoming their own. You know, I would even go as to say, I mean, not on the same level, but almost there.
Yeah.
My Irish boy's version of the Penguin.
Oh, the Penguin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I mean, don't forget him.
And we got that's a show that's coming out later this year, which I think is going to be great. The Penguin. It's supposedly a Godfather Sopranos-esque show, but in the Batman universe.
Cool.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. Burton the Grape says, I'd want a Sentry that actually looks like Sentry.
Exactly. That was my entire point.
Right.
That's my entire point.
This dude, Trippy MJ Junkrat something says, I knew I remembered you all. You guys were the ones whining about Batman constantly. You must got us mistaken, dude. I'm like the biggest Batman fan. Adrian's like the second biggest Batman fan.
I'm probably not even the second biggest Batman fan, but there's no whining about Batman.
No, not
Batman's kick ass. He's awesome.
Yep.
I don't like that, you know, Martha no gun thing.
Right.
But I mean, we resolved that, and you know, I got a little bit of relief out of Zack Snyder's version, right?
Absolutely.
Superman v Batman. You know, that's good enough for me. I can go another decade seeing him, you know, let Joker off the hook every once in a while.
Right. So you're good for a little bit because of all the killing in that movie.
Exactly.
You're like, okay, it's enough. Man, my man's been on here before. Son of Sekhmat. Okay. He says, I'm a fan for life. Love you guys.
Nice.
You know, we love you too, son of Sekhmat. This guy, DePlano, says, why was Green Lantern bad? They're talking about the movie.
I don't understand the question.
Why was because you had said the Green Lantern movie was bad.
No, I heard what you said.
Yeah, so what
I don't
was
understand.
bad about it?
I don't
You're
understand
confused at his confusion.
Exactly.
Okay. We'll leave it at that. DePlano, we are confused at your confusion. Then I love this, like, you know, when they tag.
Wait a minute. So let's go back. So when the actor is making fun of a movie that he has been in another movie, don't make the costume green and glowing.
Right.
You know, he's got little pictures of it.
Yep.
You know, I mean, that's bad.
And then he goes back in time and kills that Ryan Reynolds before he even can finish reading the script at the end. Like, yeah, dude, we are confused at your confusion. Then we get stuff like this. Like, we say some things. Like, we said that, you know, the X-Men would destroy the Justice League. I still stand behind that. We talked about the Seven and the Justice League. What I love is when we say that and someone will comment, but they'll tag, like, another comic, like, account on TikTok. Like, they're telling on us, like, look what they said, or we want your take. Hey, if you want their take, go to their fucking page. Right? Don't come and try to give you a take on our shit.
Right.
They have their own stances. We got our own. Anyways, what else we got? We have Hierophant Green says, hell nah. Matt Reeves, the Batman, is a million times better than the stretched out slow-mo Zack Snyder Justice League. I agree.
Wow. There's a lot in that statement. There's a lot wrapped up in that statement.
There is.
Agree with it, but it's a lot.
He should be on agree to disagree.
There you go.
So Hierophant, maybe you can, you know, suggest some opinions for agree to disagree. Let's see. This guy, DC Reality Punch, says Sony gave us Morbius. They shouldn't be allowed to decide anything. I agree with that too.
Man. That's too bad because Morbius he was an okay villain. I mean, they could have definitely done a better job with that.
Yeah.
I would like to see a reboot of Morbius, actually.
Yeah. Nolan Smith 1526 says, "Okay, who in the X-Men can handle Homelander? Like literally anyone? Wolverine, Jean. Anyone.
Right.
Next, Dylan Peterson says, A-Train is not faster than Flash, though. Shit.
He is not.
It's not a race.
Right.
I didn't know they were having a race. If they're having a race, you're right. Justice League would win.
Yeah, but so I think our fans are thinking that we're suggesting that there would be a pair off.
Right.
Homelander against Superman.
Yeah.
You know, what's her face against Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
A-Train against no. That's not the way it will work.
No,
at
not
all.
at all. Yeah, another guy, G-Man, says, that's ridiculous. Superman is way stronger than Homelander and Flash is way faster. Okay, we're not having a powerlifting competition. It's not an arm wrestling competition. It's a I'm going to fucking kill you competition.
Right.
And we know some of them kill and some of them don't,
right.
You know. What else we got? Let's wrap up with some fun ones here. Oh, my man, Fuck You Mean 22, spelled F or P-H-U-C-C. So, you know,
okay.
Creative there. I finally agreed with every question. About time. About time. Let's see. I'll end with a really good one, Adrian. Let's see what we got here. Top 5 X-Men versus Avengers. No, we don't need to do that. Madam Web is going to be hot garbage, Eric says. You agree with that, Adrian?
I don't know about hot garbage, but I'm thinking it's probably going to be near that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Soul Brother 36 says, what's the point of the Thunderbolts movie? I mean, why? We're asking the same thing. I think last one, Geeky Main says, I hope this is a joke. Well, like we've said here on Only Comics several times, this is a joke.
You hope what's a joke?
Our podcast, our statement, it is a joke. We joke around. We started as a joke.
There are other podcasts that
Exactly.
you can look at.
All right, seriously, last one this time. West6334 says, are you sure these guys are comic book experts?
We literally say we're not experts. I mean, that's kind of like your opening thing,
exactly.
Right?
Am I sure these guys are? No, I'm sure we're not comic book experts, and I'm sure we're never going to be. And that's not the point. And that's why I say this podcast started as a joke. Right. We were joking around. We bullshit about this stuff and said, you know what? What if we did the same thing and hit record?
Right.
And here we are.
You know what? We're gonna get things wrong.
Yep.
We're gonna say some batshit stuff every once in a while. It's gonna happen. We're gonna retract statements. We're gonna put out. We might say some things like, well, what did that guy say? I reserve the right to change my mind at a later date about the statement I'm about to make.
Yes.
That's this.
Yep, no doubt. So, well, another fun we respond. So, hey, sound off, let us know. And guys, it's all love. We appreciate the interaction. I honestly appreciate every comment, interaction, whether you love us, you hate us. I don't care. We're going to keep doing what we do. And to Adrian's point, if it really pisses you off that much, there's plenty of other podcasts out there. There's probably a new one starting right now.
Right.
Know? Someone's like, why do they call them Only Comics? They should be called Only Movies because they don't read comics. Like, dude, start your own podcast if you don't like the name of it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the other thing. You don't like it, start your own. Oh, you can't. You won't. Okay, well, then keep watching. Anyway, last up, Deadpool, our deep dive. So you kind of tease us a little bit, Adrian, with your hidden gem. And I also rewatched, I watched the entire first one and a good chunk of the second one, and I've seen them a handful of times. But, we were talking a few weeks ago about the highway scene.
Right.
Which scene still holds up.
Absolutely.
What I loved about the first movie is it was an origin story, but unlike a lot of origin stories, we got to see the character in like full, costume, action before we even saw the origin. So it wasn't like you were waiting. Like one of the things about some of the origin movies is it sucks is you don't really see the hero until like the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Right.
It's like, it's cool, but like, I don't want to see Peter Parker for 90% of the movie and see a Spider-Man costume for 10 minutes.
Right.
I'm the little kid inside me wants to see a fucking superhero in the movie, kicking ass.
Right.
So I love that they started with that and then did the flashbacks.
Yep.
But dude, that scene was just like from the slow mo. Like, hey, Zack Snyder, that's how you do slow mo.
Right.
That was a really when the opening credits where it's a slow mo of the SUV
Right.
and you see
The
like
snot, the
yep,
slobber,
the snot,
the
you see the
cigarette
cigarette lighter.
burner,
He's teabagging the guy. Like, dude, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I like that we get to see some of Wade Wilson before he became Deadpool. But like you talked about, he was a badass prior too.
Right.
So we get to see some of that. And, he's roughing up the pizza guy who's like a weird stalker to some young girl.
Right.
So it shows you early on that he does kind of care, but he's such an ass, right? Like he's not a villain, to your point. He's an anti-hero. But the way he goes about it, it's worse than Daredevil and Batman. Like he will ruthless.
Yep. The highway scene, and I had forgot about this until I resaw it.
Yeah.
But when he Colossus, which they did a horrendous job on Colossus.
You don't like Colossus?
No, dude.
Man, I love this Colossus.
No, it's just
what didn't you like about it?
Everything.
Really?
Everything. I nothing about it. Anyway, I don't even want to discuss this. Pissing me off. So anyway, but what's the more iconic thing other than the cigarette lighter was when Colossus handcuffs him and is taking him out, and he cuts his own hand off.
Yes.
And is left with the FU finger.
Yep.
Oh, that was iconic, dude. I love that scene. That whole thing. And the thing about Deadpool was that there were no soft, not soft. That's the wrong word. There were no like dead moments. Like, can we move this thing? There was none of that, dude. It flowed nicely.
Yep.
I love his history kind of a thing. It was quick. Now, if I wanted to do a deep dive into Deadpool's backstory, I got enough to now go do a deep dive.
Correct.
Don't deep dive me for, like you said, for 90% of the movie, and then show me what I actually came to the movies to see for like the last 10 or 15 minutes. So, the cutting the arm, the hand off thing, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. What did you think of the villain Ajax?
I thought that he was appropriate. Kind of he was definitely a prick. I mean, that was his character. He was a prick.
Yeah.
But he went in to do what he did. His power set was pretty cool. He was like, I got, his thing is strength, right? But obviously it's not invulnerability or healing factor.
Right.
Because he was getting messed
feel
up.
He don't feel pain.
Right. He don't feel the pain.
Yeah.
Which I think is a lot of actually what kills people.
Right.
Because you can get a traumatic injury, from what I understand, but it's the pain that kind of kills you, not the injury itself. So he's getting stitched up throughout, but he was on a mission. I mean, that dude was absolutely a dick throughout the whole whole process.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he was above average villain. Like, sometimes in movies like this, the villain either outshadows the hero, like you do like Heath Ledger, Dark Knight. It's like it's kind of a Joker movie, really, or sometimes they're just so shitty, like the Marvels, Darben with the grit. It's like, why is this chick even in the movie?
Right.
But I thought he was good enough. I thought he, played that role well. Right. He was a dick. He kind of reminded me of the dude in Logan, the guy who was the blonde guy who had the mechanical arm. Who was kind of following Logan. It kind of reminded me of him, like, just that kind of sick, sadistic, like, and. He was an ass when they were torturing him.
Right. He was a basic. If you think about it, he's an arms dealer. Yeah. Except he's not buying, guns and bullets.
Right.
He's making these supers so
Into
that
weapons.
They can be controlled and sold. So for that part, I think he did what every arm dealer in every movie does. But he did it pretty good, decent job.
Yeah. And what was funny too is, and they even made comments about this, how they had Colossus and they had Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Oh my god!
And it was like the only, and he even says like it's almost like we didn't have the budget for like any other X-Men characters. Like, I thought they did a great job portraying that character. Like, one of the cool things about the Deadpool movie was it introduced me to a lot of the sideline characters. Like, you always talk about the non-super characters, right? Like Blind Al, like Weasel. These guys that are essential to the Deadpool universe but aren't really supers. Right. But they're like the Foggy Nelsons and the Karen Pages of Daredevil, right?
Exactly. So the Jim Gordons and that's things like that. Yep.
Like, how'd you feel about the kind of his Deadpool squad or whatnot?
I thought that it was appropriate. It was like Weasel was like his friend.
Yeah.
you smell like what was it? Some kind of
So you look like an avocado had sex with an older, uglier avocado.
Right? It's like you smell like a Civil War wound that somebody shit in or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, only a friend could. Go
Correct.
that deep, you know.
Yep.
So he had that part, and then Blind Al, with her, whatever she was doing. I mean, it was just It was cool because he could do with her, what he couldn't do with the other characters.
Right.
I mean, he could just relax because she couldn't see him and all this other kind of stuff. But it was like this true support system.
Yeah.
Even though they was completely disjointed and stuff.
Right.
And my wife was like, "Is he screwing her? The blind lady?"
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think so.
Probably not. Probably not.
Or
who knows? I mean,
Weezer was trying to get up in that door.
yeah, he was. But yeah, it was like a band of misfits.
Right.
They're all these jacked up people, but for some reason they're pulled together, and Deadpool's kind of like the one that connects them all. It was that was cool. One of my favorite scenes, which I kind of forgot about until I rewatched it from the first movie, was when they showed his progression from like getting his powers and like becoming Deadpool.
The suits?
Yes, the suits.
Right.
Like first he wears the white suit, then he gets shot up and it turns red, and that's
Right.
when he meets Blind Al at the laundromat.
But that's also like Spider-Man, right?
Yep.
Because Spider-Man, you see the boxing match that he went to.
Yep.
Spider-Man had a boxing event or some kind of wrestling event. That's how he got.
Right.
Even though he wasn't participating in it,
Correct.
he went there to get somebody.
Yeah.
They still introduced that boxing thing.
Yeah.
So early on, so that was pretty cool.
Yep. And you see the progression of the suits. Like then he has the red one that has like the eye cut out. Then he finally gets the one that we see on screen. And they play, there's like some Deadpool song they play. I guess it was really big on YouTube or whatever at the time. So they used it for the movie for that whole scene. But I thought that was a really cool, just kind of like, like montage almost of him going from origin to full blown costume.
Right. Yep.
And we talked about this briefly before, but that Deadpool costume is one of the best on-screen costumes for any comic movie.
Yep.
It looks perfect.
Yep.
And Ryan Reynolds, you talk about like Robert Downey Jr. being the essential Iron Man. I don't know that someone else should ever play Deadpool.
Right. I agree. I mean, because he's covered so much.
Yeah.
He can actually get away with that for much longer.
Correct.
Than like a Hugh Jackman with Logan and things like that.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And then the end of the first one, I like the scene on the helicarrier. I thought that was pretty cool. I just like that. And one of my favorite characters is the cab driver, Dopinder.
Oh yeah.
Their interactions are hysterical.
Oh yeah. He's another one of those supporting characters that actually makes the main character, in this figure. He wants to be this assassin, he kills his brother.
Yeah, he's out of in the trunk. It's the second
some
movie,
chick.
right?
Yeah. So definitely. Then he ends up in the bar with all the rest of them. So yeah, definitely very good supporting characters.
Now, one of your disagrees was I said Deadpool 2 is better than 1, right? Why do you pick the first one over the second?
Because the little chubster pissed me off.
Really?
I didn't like that. I was like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Some deranged kid, with daddy issues that can shoot fire out of his hands.
So you didn't like him?
I didn't like him at all. It was just, it's like why?
Yeah.
Almost like why have Negatonic Warhead or whatever her name was? Why was she there?
Right.
She was like kind of one of the more useless characters in both of these shows to me.
Yeah. Got it. I didn't mind the kid. What was his name? God, I forget. Firestorm or something like that. But I forget his human name. Nathan, maybe. I can't remember. I just seen the shit. But I like what I like about the second one was introducing like the X-Force kind of, and then Cable. I thought Cable brought a lot to, and Juggernaut.
Right.
Like though you didn't like Colossus in the first one. Did you like Juggernaut?
Nope, didn't like Juggernaut.
Really?
You got to understand. I mean, I'm coming from the John Byrne era of these guys being depicted.
Yeah.
And it just didn't do it for me. And then, how they neutered Colossus with the other chick that was beating his ass all over the carrier.
Yeah.
That was kind of embarrassing. Eventually he whatever happened to her anyway? they just kind of like threw her into a ditch or something like
I
that.
guess, yeah.
And I know the weapons dude,
Francis over
Francis
there.
got his shot in the head. But what
Yep.
happened to the other girl?
Yeah, I don't think she was killed. She just kind of got tossed off to the side somewhere.
Yeah, maybe buried in the hair carrier or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, so Colossus, the main powers, Colossus and Juggernaut.
Yeah.
The CGI was horrible on them. I thought.
Yeah.
And Juggernaut was just, as a giant, he's not a giant. He's not that big.
Mm.
He's a big guy, but he's not like 8 foot tall or 9 foot, whatever they try to depict him as. So didn't like that. The little fire boy and his whole issues, and Warhead girl. There's just no point.
What about? Did you like Domino? I thought Domino was a really cool character in the second movie. She's another one that I've seen in the comics. Didn't know a whole lot about her, but I thought who was it? The hell's her name? Something Beats, I think, played her. But I thought she was a pretty cool character. How did you feel about Domino?
I think Domino was like number 2 in characters in that movie for
Really?
me. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was just the portrayal.
Yeah.
It was just cool the way they portrayed everything that's going around her. Like when she landed, she's like, "Lucky is a power." It's like, no,
Yeah.
it's not. Blah blah. And then all this stuff is happening
Yes,
around
it's
her.
just
How they
missing
portrayed
her.
it. Again, Snyder. That's how
Yep.
you do slow mo.
Mhm.
Just the way everything around her was going.
Yeah.
I think she had just enough comic relief. She's not like a comedian like Ryan Reynolds,
Right.
but she had just enough little moments to kind of go in there. Like when Juggernaut came out of the thing and she turned around and was like, time to go. But I would say number 2 in that show.
Yeah, like she's one I'd love to see back.
Oh
like,
yeah,
I loved her dynamic with Deadpool. Like even like some people can say it's like almost like a sibling relationship where love hate type of deal. But I think they played off each other well.
right.
And even in that scene with the bus when it looks like it's all going to go to shit, all of a sudden she's there and like they just luckily got out of it, which is pretty cool. I thought,
what was the point of what's his face being in there?
who
The bald head black dude with the muscles and
just to die?
yeah, just
Terry
to die.
Crews.
Terry Crews. Why?
Yeah.
I think that was a waste of talent.
Yep.
Unless he just had to be in some kind of superhero movie, and it was like, oh, we'll put you in just so you can die.
Right.
I don't know.
I did think that was pretty funny though, how they built up this whole X-Force deal, and then they just
all of that was definitely funny. It was
like,
definitely funny
in minutes. Like, yo, you want to waste some characters, Doctor Strange? That's how you do it, right? That was way better than because these are characters. They weren't like the Professor Xavier's and the people that we really want to see. There were some obscure characters, but we're like, oh shit, he's getting a team. This is gonna be badass. And within like 30 seconds, they're all gone.
Even Mustache Boy. I mean, you kind of rooted for him that he like survived the land.
No powers at all.
Right. And then he goes over there to try to help somebody and just get vaporized by Vomit Boy. It's crazy.
Yep. Zazie Beetz is who plays Domino. She's also in Joker. She plays the girl next door that he kind of has an imaginary relationship with in his head. I love Vanessa. What's her name? Morena Baccarin, maybe.
Right.
She was also in Gotham. I don't know if you ever seen that show. She played Leslie Thompson, the Gotham doctor. The kind of street doctor in Gotham. But I like her character. Now, the one thing that I didn't like about the second movie is that how long that beginning was with her dying and all that. I felt like that kind of dragged until we got to the point, of him being broken down and wanting to kill everyone again.
Right.
So I thought that kind of dragged out. And I'm not a huge fan of that. I feel like too many movies do that shit where someone dies and then, the person here almost dies and then they see them and they're like, come on, no, come back with me. We got more time. Like, that shit's old. I hate seeing that. So I didn't like that with the movie. But all in all, unlike you, I like the Colossus and Juggernaut because I think those characters shouldn't look like humans. In X3, remember that Juggernaut? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. Like, it was just like this big dude with a goofy-ass costume on. I don't want to see that shit. I'd rather it be CGI. And I see what you're saying. He is a lot bigger than the Juggernaut from the...
Right.
I
don't mind the CGI. Just do it right.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, while we're going to continue on, but I'm just going to try to think of a CGI scene that I saw that was like just good.
Okay.
But those were not. I'm just saying.
I do agree with the whole nerfing Colossus. I didn't like that this just other chicks kind of whipping his ass.
Right.
And they did make him out to be kind of a bitch a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember Colossus being the loving, everything's got to be peaceful type. Like he's not Superman.
Right. I don't remember his origin, but he's Russian. I do know that.
Yeah.
He probably had like a pretty chaotic childhood, which is nothing like what he was portrayed in this stuff. I mean, and the thing about it is that, to Deadpool's point, they could have brought in a number of X-Men at lesser cost than CGI and Colossus in there.
True.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that shit is not. I mean, according to She-Hulk, that shit is not cheap. We had Terry Crews, Bill Skarsgård is another one who was in there for a few seconds. Louis Tan, Peter, that was the guy who had no power at all. Right. And fun fact, did you know that Brad Pitt played the Vanisher? The guy who was invisible the whole time?
I thought I saw his face when he got electrocuted.
Yeah, yep, that's the only time you see
it. That was pretty cool.
That was funny. So
I like it when actors do like these non-credited roles. Like Tom Cruise will pop in, into like the end of a scene or something. He's like uncredited. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yep. So, but yeah, no, I think I stay with my original opinion. I think Deadpool 2 is a better movie, but I think they both are like great. Two of my favorite. And I guess they're considered X-Men films, right? Because they take place in the X-Men universe. Deadpool 3. So are you excited for this movie? Do you think it's going to be as good as these two?
I am. I've been disappointed so far in Marvel's follow-ups, but I have faith.
Yeah.
So I would expect it to be at least what the previous two Deadpools have been. But I am excited to see it.
Yeah.
But I would be ecstatic if it's actually better than the previous two.
Yeah. I think it could be. I agree. I think it will be at least on par with these two. I like the fact. Now, this is the first time Disney has handled Deadpool, but from all the news that has been reported, it looks like they're just going to let Sean Levy do his thing because he's the one that directed the first two. It's still going to be rated R. From what they said so far, it's just going to be Deadpool. We're not going to get the Disney twist on Deadpool,
right? Which
is a good thing. The director from the first two are back. I think that's a good thing. So far, Hugh Jackman obviously has been confirmed. Vanessa's been confirmed. Negasonic Teenage Warhead has been confirmed. And Jennifer Gardner as Elektra has been confirmed.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
She didn't do a bad job in Elektra as the Elektra character.
Right. This is a shitty movie, right?
You know what? It could have been in a better place, but back then, they had what's his face as Daredevil. Ben Affleck as Daredevil. They were okay, and I'm glad that they at least got those things on screen.
Yeah.
So, and I've seen some of Jennifer Gardner's movies later. She's pretty badass when she's portrayed as that. Like Peppermint. You ever seen that movie, Peppermint? No. She's pretty cool in that. So I'm okay with her coming back as Elektra.
Okay. Also inside, sideline characters or supporting actors, I guess is the proper word. Blind Al will be back. Dopinder will be back. That's good. Your boy Colossus will be back, so you're probably not too happy about that. Yukio, remember Negasonic Teenage Warhead's little girlfriend, she'll be back. And
Why?
I don't know.
Why, dude? I don't know.
Peter will be back, so your boy Peter, for some reason, I thought he died. He didn't die in the first or in the second movie. Peter was the non-powered guy who was part of the X-Force with the mustache. I thought
with one arm, because didn't the guy like spit on him when he was going into
and
burnt? He's dead.
Yeah, I thought so.
Well, I mean, he burnt him like all the way up to the chest. His whole arm.
So he's going to come back with one arm, maybe. But again, this is going to be a time traveling movie, so maybe there's another version.
Okay.
And maybe
there's that.
There's a rumor that Sabretooth and Toad are set to appear.
Wait a minute. Hold on, dude. I mean, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
I mean, this is not the Avengers,
Sounds
it's like they're trying to make a. Come on.
Are you retracting your previous statement?
It would be interesting to see how they pull all this off,
Yeah.
but that's a lot of people
Yeah.
to put into one movie, dude. And
Right.
if they, especially if they're not a team.
Now, it
You're
could
gonna
just be cameos. It could be, like Doctor Strange floating through the multiverse and you see someone here or there, or like across the Spider-Verse. There's a lot of Spider-Men that are in there, but some of them are only in there for a second or two.
Or like the Nicolas Cage Superman showing up in the Flash. I mean,
Oh,
that kind of
God.
cameo.
I hope not. Yeah. Yeah. Let's hope it's not that one. But there's also, now this is the of all these rumors, the one that I'm not excited about is the character Dogpool is going to be in this. There, I guess in the comics, there's a Deadpool variant, Dogpool, and that's character's going to show up in Deadpool 3. How do you feel about Dogpool?
No comment.
It's bad when Adrian has no comment.
There's already so many. First of all, Sabretooth should be more than a cameo in anything, right? But then you're bringing in all these other people. They had such a lovely mix of characters for the first one.
Mm-hmm.
The girlfriend, the friend, the cab driver. Him coming up. All these little sidekicks and stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to be unfair to somebody, and I'm thinking that they're going to try to make all of them have equal amounts of time,
Right.
Which is going to be unfair to us as the movie goers,
Correct.
because they're going to do something stupid, and it's just not going to make any sense. So I'm still hopeful, but this is also why I'm saying I'm not as excited about, or I don't anticipate it being better than the first two,
Mm-hmm.
because they're trying to do so much more in it. I think they're going to pooch screw it.
Yeah. And I misspoke. So the director from the first two movies was Tim Miller, not Sean Levy or Levy. Sean Levy is the guy who he's directed Night at the Museum. He's directed Real Steel with Hugh Jackman, The Internship, Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds. You ever seen that movie, Free Guy? He's takes place inside of a video game, virtual world. Ryan Reynolds plays the main character.
I did see that, but
Yeah.
didn't they also reference that in one of his other movies? Or in Free Guy, he referenced. They did some cross referencing.
I think in Free Guy they kind of somehow mentioned Deadpool or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. Which I thought, for what it was, I thought Free Guy was an entertaining movie.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
So did I.
So that being said, I think it's a good thing that he's directing this. And having a different director is probably not a bad idea. I mean, this guy also, Sean Levy, I think he worked on Stranger Things. I don't know if he was a producer or writer or something like that. The Adam Project, which I've never seen. But he was an executive producer on Stranger Things. So, hey, we'll see what Sean Levy can do with Deadpool 3. I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm not exactly where you are with the hesitance, but the more I hear about all these sideline characters,
Right.
I hope they're handled properly. I hope that, to your point, they're not trying to give them all equal screen time, make them all a big deal. I don't like the idea, though, of wasting characters either. And you mentioned Sabretooth. Now, there's two versions of Sabretooth in the Marvel movies. We have his first name was Taylor, but he played in the X-Men movies, the original ones, the big beastly looking guy who was very obscure. He didn't have a big role. He fought Wolverine a little bit here and there, and then he was killed. And then we have the one from the Wolverine movie,
Shriver.
Liv Schreiber or whatever,
Yeah.
which I really liked his portrayal.
Yeah.
If I had to pick, I would choose he came back if they were going to use him properly. If it's a one-off cameo, use
Doesn't
the other
matter.
guy and just get him out of there.
Right. I mean, I agree that Sabretooth was, to me, definitely the better of the two, and he actually looks the part.
Yeah.
Even when he's just like I always thought that the guy that plays Homelander would have been a very good Wolverine.
Yeah.
This guy looks like Sabretooth, even when he's not Sabretooth. When
Correct.
he's playing other movies and stuff.
Yeah. I just remember the scene where he has his hand and you see the nails growing out of his fingertips, like Sabretooth, and then I forget what he's scratching, but that, as bad as that movie was overall, X-Men Origins, it had some really cool scenes and moments. Like their fight, they had some really cool fights in there. And you know, that was where, like, we've already seen Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, Wolverine and Deadpool together in that movie. It wasn't the full-blown Deadpool. It was the assassin he was prior to becoming Deadpool. Right. Of course, we know how they screwed that up in this movie with the sewn mouth and all that bullshit.
Which they also referenced in that.
Yes.
He's like, don't let me sew your mouth up. He's like, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. And did you notice the little toy, the action figure of that Deadpool? I think it was in the second one.
Yep.
So,
it was like one of the opening craze, like, this is my favorite toy. But when he picks it up, it turns into something else. They're looking at something else.
Yep. Yeah, it's hysterical. Yeah. But I think in that movie, though, we got to see, number one, how good Ryan Reynolds could be at Deadpool if it was done properly. Because that was, you're talking about cutting the bullet. That was the first time we saw it in that Wolverine Origins film where they're going to find the adamantium or whatever. And, dude comes out the elevator and Ryan Reynolds got his little shine. And he was like, it was very close to, it was like an origin for the Deadpool we have now.
Right.
He had the wisecrack, like he had the comic relief. He was a smart ass. He was an asshole, and he was a badass.
Right.
So I mean, are there some things going into Deadpool 3 that you hope you see? Like, for example, I hope, and I think we will get this, but I hope we see a really good Wolverine Deadpool fight. That would be awesome. You have anything in mind, or you're just kind of like, let's just see what happens?
It would be interesting if they either segue in Death or Thanos.
Okay.
In this.
You okay with seeing Thanos again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But more interestingly, the relationship with Deadpool and Thanos, not him off on his own doing his other bullshit.
Right.
That would be interesting to see. Outside, actually, I'm not really interested because I see, maybe because of how Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman off screen are interacting.
Yeah.
I don't think I would want to see a Wolverine Deadpool fight. Really? Per se. Yeah. Okay. I think it'd be kind of a waste of time. Yeah. I think there's other things that they can develop and, so on and so forth. Yeah. But I think that would be the least thing I would like to see.
Got it. And the rumor for the plot, from what we know so far, is Deadpool is going to be on some type of multiverse road trip with Wolverine, and the TVA is going to catch wind of it, and we know how they feel about time travel and stuff, so they're going to be tracking them down. There's a rumor that Owen Wilson's character, Mobius, is going to appear in this.
Does that mean that Loki is going to make an appearance in this?
I don't know. Maybe.
As the timeline master?
Maybe in a post. I hope it's not. If he does, that's interesting, I guess, rumor or a thought. I hope it's like in a post-credit scene or something.
Right.
Like maybe he has to fix what Deadpool does and gets pissed off or some shit. But I would like to see Loki again after that.
I wonder if they're going to make Loki like the Watcher.
Yeah.
Just kind of observing things because all timelines at this point is running through him, right? So I wonder if they're gonna make him like that, just observing, seeing what's going on, maybe do some correction. Well, the Watcher can't interfere, right? So he can't make corrections. But anyway,
Taylor Swift is rumored to make a cameo appearance as Dazzler.
I thought you was joking about that.
No, I was not. No, that wasn't just me being me. That was actually a rumor, a real rumor.
Wow.
You know anything about Dazzler? I've heard the name. I don't. It's like some Jubilee type character.
No, she's not up there.
No.
No, she's like a skating ring from the one I remember.
Yeah.
Blonde, had like some silver glittery thing on, roller skates. She was kind of like Starlight or whatever from the Boys.
Oh, okay.
She had, she could like these light powers per se. She had like this big funky like 70s mask on or something. Kind of like a Farrah Fawcett-esque character. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yep, exactly.
Man, I got some deep thoughts over
here.
You
do, though. Shit, man. Your knowledge goes back. I mean, now we know you're not an expert.
No.
Like if experts here, I think you're like right here. Or maybe like, midway.
Yeah, well, the difference between an expert and me, right?
What?
Experts get paid. So, Domino's.
Exactly.
I mean, not Domino's. Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin'. Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
Only Comics runs on Dunkin'. We'll start saying that. This is the last free advert you're gonna get. Next week,
we can just start out with some a box of Joe, some donuts maybe. We can talk about the cash later.
Right. Just on Sundays when we record, just have it here.
Exactly.
Yeah, nice little macchiato or something. The worst, Adrian, is when they stir your macchiato. It's supposed to be a layered drink.
So this is also a difference, between us, the age gap. So I just like coffee.
Yeah, you don't care.
I don't know what this macchiato, a whipped cream on coffee, the cream that you can't stir it. Whatever, dude.
Too many rules. You just want the coffee.
Too many rules.
Yeah.
You know what my menu should have? It should have like 3 things on it, like coffee and then something to eat and then like a napkin. That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Do you have a favorite donut from Dunkin' Donuts?
The not the classic, because the classic is like just the basic glazed donut.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
That's your favorite.
And the second one is that donut without the glaze. It's like
old-fashioned.
it's like the old fashioned.
Okay.
That's it. I don't like all this other crap.
My favorite is the glazed stick. Something about, like, I love the glazed donut, but the stick is like, I don't know, it's not as airy. Right. I love the glazed stick. That's my favorite.
I call it the turd.
Well, I love the glazed turd then. And then the chocolate glazed donut is a classic.
That's too much, dude. I can't.
Too much? Too
sweet?
Yeah.
I can't.
That's because you're not having the layered drink, That's what it is. What's this have to do with comics? Nothing.
Nothing and at all.
Because we had to have our coffee before we got started.
That's right.
So there you go. But yeah, I mean, I'm back to Deadpool. All in all, I'm just glad they're moving forward with the character, because that was one thing I think a lot of Deadpool fans feared when Disney took over. The Fox stories was like, are they going to can Deadpool? Is it too adult for Disney? And we've learned that Disney kind of woke up and realized that it's okay. You can put out adult shit and kid stuff.
Right.
Everyone will be okay. Right. So I'm excited that we're getting more Deadpool.
So 2 things right quick. So Deadpool, I'm rewatching it today.
Yeah.
There's like full frontal nudity.
Yeah.
In Deadpool.
Yep.
The stripper scenes.
Yep.
Them having sex. Him when he first gets his powers, he's thrown around.
He's butt ass naked on fire.
Yep. So there's a lot. So kudos to Disney. I take back a little bit of what I said.
Yeah.
About them, and also another retraction. Taylor Swift. I said earlier, when you mentioned her, I thought you was joking. I'm gonna throw up in my mouth.
Yeah.
Thinking about her and thinking about the character Dazzler, I think that could be like an iconic role for her.
She does kind of look like the character.
I think she would be a Dazzler. Taylor Swift being a Dazzler would be like Hugh Jackman being Wolverine.
Shit, that's a bold prediction, AJ.
I mean, when I just heard Taylor, I'm like, okay, really? So like 10 universes don't already know your name. You got to get into the comic.
You thought she was going to show up as Taylor Swift,
I don't know, dude. Just
yeah, that would be bad.
But I'm thinking she could pull that off as being like one of an iconic figure.
Dude, I heard that her just being at the games brought almost like $400 million revenue to the NFL, and everyone's like all crazy about it. But dude, she's on screen for like 10 seconds,
right?
Like, I was watching a podcast the other day. Guys, like, dude, they show the fat guy with the logo on his chest a lot more than they show Taylor Swift. Like, everybody calm down, but she's so big. So now it would be from a fan standpoint, wanting to see more Deadpool, wanting to see more of this stuff. Having someone at the level of Taylor Swift in the movie is going to bring a lot more eyes on it. So it'll be a more successful movie. So maybe maybe we're both retracting what we said on Agree to Disagree.
Now, better movie from a revenue standpoint, that doesn't make it a better movie from a viewer standpoint.
Yes, exactly.
Now, speaking of drawing eyes, so imagine Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl on one side.
Yeah.
Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl on the other side. That city would shut down.
Oh, my God.
That city was just shut down.
Absolutely. Yo, Bad Bunny should be in this movie, is what you're saying.
I didn't go that far. No, we don't need it.
I mean, after looking up this character, because when I first heard the rumor, they just said she'd be in there. I didn't know it was guest appearance as Dazzler. So if it's like a cameo where we just get to see her, because I do agree, after looking at the character, Taylor Swift would be a perfect Dazzler.
Yep.
You just got to curl the hair a little bit and throw on the costume.
She's got the features. She got the hair already. Yeah. She got the profile.
Yeah.
So that would be spot on.
Yep. Well, so there you have it. On Only Comics, we will change our mind 20 minutes later.
All right. So Taylor Swift, you have our permission.
Yes.
Since we know you're watching. To be Dazzler.
I can't even say that one with a straight face. I know Kevin Feige and all of them are watching, but No, I don't think Taylor Swift or Travis Kelce is watching our podcast. But hey, if you are, thanks for the view, and we look forward to seeing you in Deadpool 3.
And if you are convinced Dunkin' Donuts to send us a box, Joe.
Definitely. But no, I mean, the more we talk about this, this is, of all the movies we mentioned a few weeks ago, we talked about Kraven the Hunter, Madam Web, Joker 2, Venom 3. This is still the movie I look forward the most to this year. I am excited about this one. It's probably the one I'm most excited about reviewing. And I think even if it's not as good as the first two, I do believe it will be fun. It will be a really fun movie.
I agree. I think it'll be fun, but I'm actually looking forward more to Kraven the Hunter than I am Deadpool 3, only because there is no Kraven the Hunter before. Okay. So there's nothing. I don't have I don't have anything to prejudge.
Right.
At this point, Deadpool's going to be super exciting or disappointing to me.
Correct.
So
yeah, there's probably a lot more to lose with coming out with Deadpool 3, because there is. I mean, for Marvel, there's a lot riding on this. I believe, because they're at a spot now where they're not a guaranteed success at the box office anymore. The Marvels bombed.
Right.
It was atrocious, and almost unfairly, because I didn't dislike that. And actually, it's available for streaming now, so I probably will rewatch it.
Right.
So if you're, a lot of these podcasts do, stream it or skip it. I would say for the Marvels, stream it. Don't skip it. It was a decent movie.
Yeah, it was.
It was better than the first one. But the box office, like you just mentioned, better box office doesn't mean better movie. Right. And I think that's a perfect example right there. The box office return did not match the quality of that movie, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
But then in the past, like, we probably saw the opposite with the first Captain Marvel. That movie did $1 billion at the box office, and I thought it sucked.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the Marvels, would you agree, is better than Captain Marvel? I think we did that on Agree to Disagree before.
I definitely agree with that. I think it was anticipation. It was almost like Taylor Swift was in the movie.
Yeah.
So there was this high expectation for this movie to be, so people just turned out.
Yeah.
But it was a shitty movie.
Exactly.
So.
It's almost like if they reversed the box office, it would be more fitting.
Right.
Like the first one, if that one bombed, would have made sense because of how average it was or below average. But I think the second one was much better. So to your point, if Taylor Swift shows up in this, it will do box office numbers. Doesn't mean that it's going to be a great movie.
Correct.
But what it usually means, though, is if it's successful at the box office, you're going to get more of that. You know what I mean? Like they're more if like the Marvels bombed, the odds that we see Captain Marvel 3 are slim to none.
Right.
I believe. If Deadpool 3, is not received as well as the second one, but it does $1 billion, but we'll get Deadpool 4, we'll get Deadpool and other shit.
Right. Right.
I think, are you more excited about the potential of more Deadpool solo movies, or the potential of, not the potential is going to happen, but seeing Deadpool interact with established MCU characters?
I'd rather see him after 3. I think they should stop.
Yeah.
Or at least spread him out.
Break.
But I'm definitely interested. At this point, I think he should go like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And just and just pop up in other movies and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think there needs to be a Deadpool 4. But he can definitely pop around into other stuff. I actually think he had a gadget that allowed him to teleport. So
really?
Yeah, that was one of his things. So that'd be interesting for him to do, sneak up in the corner and put his sword up to stop a bullet from somebody dying and just be shh, and then just pop away, kind of a deal.
Yep.
That'd be interesting to see.
Yeah.
I'd definitely rather see him do more of that than a Deadpool 4 plus.
Yeah, I'm with you. Give us some time there. Now, of some of the current characters, we mentioned She-Hulk. Would be cool to see him interact with, right?
Yep.
Well, give me 2 more that you're like, if he's going to interact, these 2 are 2 I'd love to see him interact with.
So She-Hulk, he's already done. Wolverine.
Yeah.
Probably Spider-Man.
Yeah. I agree.
Daredevil.
Yeah.
I like to see him because he's immortal. I wouldn't mind seeing a future version, because 500 years in the future.
Yeah. It comes back.
He's still around.
Yeah.
So I like to see what that looks like. But the fact that Cable didn't know him, because he's immortal, but when in the prison break, they clunched up against each other, and Cable's like, "Who are you?" Because he's protecting this kid.
Yep.
Cable doesn't know why he's protecting the kid, and Deadpool doesn't know why he's trying to kill a kid.
Right.
So obviously, either there's a different timeline, or something happened where Cable in the future doesn't know who Deadpool is.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man, Daredevil, some future version. I'd love to see Death and or Thanos.
Yep.
So a lot of, I mean, he could pop around in
He
a
really
lot
could,
of
yeah.
stuff. I mean, Captain America.
Yep.
That would be interesting to see. I don't want to see this version of Black Panther in anything. So I was going to say Black Panther, but I'm
No.
thinking, the original
T'Challa. Yeah.
Yep. Although I would like to see because there's like a more regal version of the Black Panther.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how they would hand the mantle off from the sister to whomever.
Right. I think the first two you said would probably be my two that I'd be most excited about. Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the comic relief there, and they're gonna butt heads, and they're gonna talk a lot of shit to each other. They'll probably get into a fight, which would be pretty cool to see.
Yep.
And then you had mentioned Daredevil,
right?
Which just similar look, very brutal. Daredevil's very serious. Deadpool's not, so that would be cool to kind of see the contrast there. And then this is now I've said before I don't want to see Robert Downey Jr. back, but if he was, Tony Stark and freaking Deadpool would be insane on screen.
It'd be insane. Did you catch the Tony Stark lookalike at the funeral when Deadpool jumped up out the coffin and just sprayed everybody? He was like in front row. He's like, "Oh, you don't want to be in there." He just started spraying everybody, and this Tony Stark lookalike was right in front.
That's funny. And like I said, Wolverine. I mean, we're obviously going to see that in this film, so that was not like I wish it would happen. But I do. I would love to see him in the MCU, like you said, kind of popping up like Spider-Man has done for the past few years.
Right.
I mean, he can be that, franchise type of character. So all in all, dude, I mean, Deadpool, I'm excited about it. I've not read many Deadpool comics, to be honest, which I probably do want to get into some now.
I've read none.
Yeah.
My exposure to Deadpool has been movies only.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go. Movies only. I thought y'all were only comics. We're both, and whatever we want to be at whatever moment we want to be. But anyway.
And how do you know that we only review movies? Because we just said that we also view comics.
Right. We've gone through comics on here.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And my only exposure to Deadpool being movies means that I didn't see him in what? Comics.
Right.
Which means that I have looked at comics. I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly. Just not now. I did read some Deadpool, like when I read the Civil War event line. Those kind of bring all these different stories together. So there was a series of, I think it was Deadpool and Cable that actually tied into Civil War, and those were fun. The issues were fun, so I actually would probably be interested in reading some Deadpool. So maybe we find one of Deadpool's alleged best stories and review it on here.
You know what? And this is a Deadpool-ish kind of a hook because he's Canadian. It makes I would love to see them bring to screen or animation Alpha Flight.
Yes,
the Canadian team.
Yep.
I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, because there's also ties to Wolverine there. Because he was a full member at one point, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Was Deadpool ever a member, or he just interacted with them?
I think he just interacted, but they're all supposedly Canadian. Yeah. He's also very fluent in a lot of different languages and stuff, but they believe that he's Canadian, which is that tie-in.
Yeah.
But Alpha Flight, I would love to see.
And then Alpha Flight and X-Force have crossed paths, right, in some comics?
Well, they would have had to,
Yeah.
or at least some members, only because X-Force is a derivative of the X-Men, which Wolverine is involved in, which they've, clashed at some point.
Yep.
Yeah,
someone's watching right now and go, I told you they weren't experts. Yeah, we know. The other rumored apparent character is Miss Minutes, because they're taking the whole TVA.
Oh, really?
I think Miss Minutes and Deadpool will be a very funny interaction if done right.
That dude will screw anything. I wouldn't put him past him.
You think he's gonna smash Miss Minutes?
Right? Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
So Adrian's prediction for the movie has nothing to do with who's going to show up. It's Deadpool's going to smash Miss Minute.
Right. He'll figure out a way.
Have a little Deadpool Miss Minute baby. You never know. But anyway, well, I think that wraps up our deep dive, our patented Only Comics deep dive here. This was fun. It was good. And what I love about this, honestly, is you learn so much about a character that you thought you knew a lot about, and he's a character that I think they're just scratching the surface with on screen. And the one thing I know the rumors it's going to be inconsequential, whatever. I hope that in some way, shape, or form, this is a pathway to bring the X-Men into the MCU finally. I think they're at a spot now where, you said this before, we've seen the Avengers shit.
Mm-hmm.
Take the X-Men.
Right.
You can do so much with X-Men. You can do more with X-Men than the Avengers, in my opinion.
I mean, the whole space game.
Yep.
You know, they can go down that route. It's just so much stuff.
Right.
I mean, just so much stuff. The Brood, the alien infestation thing.
Cyclops and Havoc. We talked about that here. Corsair. Like, they could have a
Exactly.
whole story that just starts with their origin.
The Shi'ar Empire.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the Hellfire Club.
Apocalypse can be done right for once. He should get the Thanos treatment.
Yeah.
The way they designed Thanos on screen, where it's Josh Brolin's face. It's like the Hulk. You got the character's face, a mix of CGI and actual, facial movements or whatnot, and Thanos looks legit.
Right.
Apocalypse should have been that size, that style, not Oscar Isaac in this weird freaking spacesuit. That was bad, dude.
That was bad.
That was one of the worst. What would you take? Juggernaut CGI or that Apocalypse suit?
Juggernaut.
All right, last thing before we
crazy.
wrap. It seems like one of us wants to see Deadpool versus Wolverine. You don't, I do. I think we will get it, though. So let's do our own little Deadpool versus Wolverine before we wrap, okay? We did this with Cap and Spider-Man a few weeks ago. So I'm going to ask you, from a power set standpoint, now they're very similar, who has the better powers?
Deadpool has the better power.
Deadpool, okay. And you're counting Wolverine's adamantium as power or no?
No. Wolverine's adamantium would possibly kind of be equivalent to Deadpool's ability to regenerate from any part of his body. But I can't say the extent of Wolverine's regeneration because, again, he's never been separated.
Never seen it, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Deadpool's power is definitely. And the other thing is that Wolverine is long-lived. He obviously ages, as in Logan, right? Well, Deadpool is immortal, so he's done.
Yeah,
he's done. I mean, when you're dating death, you're. I mean, you're not just immortal; you're immortal.
Correct. So you're going Deadpool powers.
Yep.
Okay. Suit, and I'm talking blue and yellow Wolverine or red and black Deadpool. Who's with the cooler?
Any version of Wolverine's suit is not as good as Deadpool's suit.
Wow. This is a tough one. I'm gonna go. I'm a big black and red guy, Adrian, but I'm gonna go Wolverine. I'm gonna go iconic blue and yellow. So there you have it. We disagreed, and so these two are fighting. Right.
Deadpool.
Really? That simple?
Oh yeah.
Why?
It's real simple.
Because of the regenerated power, or
well,
you don't think Wolverine's claws gives him an advantage?
Well, they are neutral in this situation because they can't really do anything to him. What are they going to do? Slice him in half, or he's going to regenerate?
Right.
I mean, the only way, Wolverine can beat him in the fight because he can. Let's say he separate his head, or he can keep him from possibly regenerating if his head has to be near his other body parts.
Yeah,
he just put him in two boxes and dump him in two oceans, right?
Right,
and he'll live, but. He'll never.
Well, he could bring the head to the James McAvoy Professor X mansion, and then bring the body to the Patrick Stewart one. Two separate universes.
There you go. There we go. Done deal. Done deal.
And then if someone yells Martha, it's a wrap. Oh no, that's the wrong thing. That's DC.
I think that Wolverine would beat in a fight, but I think that Deadpool would triumph overall.
Got it. He would. So it wouldn't be able to kill him. Like, a fight, Wolverine wins.
Yeah.
But to the death, he ain't gonna kill Deadpool.
Right.
Now, last question. Better movie. We'll take Logan. Would you say Logan's the best Wolverine movie?
I would agree with that.
Okay. And then you would say Deadpool 1's the best Deadpool movie.
Correct.
All right. So Deadpool or Logan, better movie? Actually, I'll let you go first.
For two different reasons, but overall, I would go with Deadpool.
Yeah, I would go with Logan.
Yep,
better movie. Well, this is probably the most split we've been. So,
Only
comics fans, let us know. You agree with me, or do you agree with Adrian? It's funny too. I'm disagreeing, but I have the Deadpool shirt on. Whatever.
Well, that's today's event, so that's okay.
Exactly. But all in all, I love what we've seen with Deadpool so far. I'm excited for what's to come. Keep making Deadpool content. I add them to the MCU, and let's shake this thing up a little bit. Be bold.
Right.
We said before, be bold.
Exactly.
We know you're watching. If not, Taylor Swift, let them know, because we know you and Travis are watching right before the Super Bowl. What else would you watch before the Super Bowl? Only Comics, right?
That's it.
Obviously. Well, there you have it. Another great week here on Only Comics. We will be back at you next week. If you've not done this yet, hit the subscribe button, like, share this. Let someone know how awesome we are. Merch is dropping soon. We also, Adrian, we're going to have some licensed Marvel merch on this site, by the way. Yep. So I found a way to make that happen to where it's all legal and legit, but we'll have some Marvel merch. We'll have some Only Comics merch, I'd say, the next couple of weeks. But subscribe now so you can find out when that happens. And you know where to find us every week right here on Only Comics. Adrian, thanks for coming in.
As always.
As always, we'll see you next week right here.